Confederate uniforms were gray kippy, jacket and trousers. When they got old and faded, they looked light brown, which gave them the nickname butternuts for the Southern soldiers. Artillerymen had red kippies, shell jackets, red trim, and, depending on rank, a red stripe on their pants leg. Cavalry riders had yellow stripe on their pants and yellow trim on their leg. Volunteers provided their own uniforms. They brought clothes from home. They wore dark blue jackets and kippies but with light blue trousers. Officers and some Confederate soldiers wore gray, but majority wore mixed shades of brown. The Civil War Union soldiers' pants uniform were dark blue until 1862, when they were dyed a lighter shade, more like sky blue. They were held up by suspenders. Bargains are leather shoes that were laced over the ankle. They wore gaiters over their shoes for extra protection.
Go.
The colors of the Union uniforms shirts were dark blue with 4 brass buttons. They wore wool. The wool was good and warm in winter, but itchy and hot in summer. The soldiers hated the itchy wool, so they brought cotton shirts and underwear from home and wore it instead. Cotton was more scarce during the war. Tunic uniforms. All ranks issued with dark green caps and jackets. The leather with black, non-shine, thermoplastic buttons to offer maximum camouflage. Sharpshooter uniform for Union. The Union sharpshooter uniforms were frost green. This helped them to camouflage. There were also regiments that chose unique elements for the Civil War uniforms, something to make it stand out as a group. Leggings uniform in the Union. Black leather leggings were issued to all ranks but abandoned by most. The forage cap was made of stiff wool. It looked like a round circle on the front of the head over the leather visor. This kind was most common. At the top of the hat in the middle had a symbol that showed where the men were from and where they belonged. Cavalry kippies were modeled to individual preference. Women wore 7 layers of clothing each day. Victorian women changed their outfits 3 times a day, and regular class people changed only once. Victorian women always wore gloves whenever going out.
Okay, go.
Hair jewelry was a special type of Civil War jewelry used to remember loved ones separated by distance or death. It included the person's hair and rings, brooches, bracelets, necklace, earrings, or even watch chains. Civil War ladies' clothing and fashion in the 1860s featured the hoop skirt at its greatest width. The hoop expanded slightly farther out in the back than in the front. It took up to 5 yards of fabric to make Victorian hoop skirt. Farm boys wore heavy, coarse, durable fabrics that could withstand the hard daily labor. Jacket and pants were made from denim to canvas. Children during the Civil War also wore cotton shirts, woolen vests in cool weather, and suspenders to hold up their pants. Country boys typically went barefoot in the summer, but in the city, boys wore low-cut leather boots. In poor rural areas, a boy might not receive his first pair of boots until he was old enough for his feet to stop growing. Wealthy young men or any other males trying to dress up for the special event, like the delivery of the Gettysburg Address, wore loose dark suits over white dress shirts with broad bow ties. Male children in the Civil War era basically dressed the same as their father, but their jackets was waist-length and only buttoned near the top. In warm weather, boys wore knickerbockers or short pants instead of long trousers, but this was only allowed until a boy reached his teenage. All males were expected to have neatly cut hair. Men wore tall silk or beaver fur hats, such as the famous stovepipe hat that Lincoln liked to wear, but young men only wore soft caps with short visors. Under age 5, Civil War children dressed alike except the girls sometimes wore carolines. However, young boys always wore loosely petite coats under their dresses. Around age 5, a boy gave up his skirts and started wearing short or long trousers or nighties. From that point on, he was expected to develop manly personality traits, but before that, he was dressed like a baby, just like the girls. Victorian girls wore long dresses. All Victorian females, including Civil War children, were expected to wear layers under the skirt of other dress to make it appear fuller and wider. Girls dressed like their mothers, but they never wore hoop skirts and their dresses were mid-calf length instead of ankle length. The dress of a 12-year-old ended with an inch or two above the knee. Full-grown women wore lace-up corsets to reduce the size of their waist, but young girls used a belt or girdle if anything. Ladies going out for a lot of walking wore high-top leather boots that required a small hook to button. Hats were required for ladies in church. Some conservative groups believed in head covering at all times. The standard Civil War hair arrangement for grown women was a straight part with the hair combed over the ear and secured into a chigning or bun in the back. Sometimes women covered the bun with a lace net called a snood. The snood could be tightly tied around the hair like a little back or tied wide around the back of the hair but not extending forward past the girls wore it all down in curls. Teenagers often wore their hair with the front half up and curls in the back since they were halfway between childhood and womanhood. A carpet bag was a carpet rolled up or stitched together to hold belongings.
Music was very popular during the Civil War. They played in march, camps, and even in battle. Lee said that he doesn't believe there can be an army without music. Band concerts were very popular in the Civil War. They were used to comfort soldiers and make them feel at home. They used flyers like these ones to show that they were having a band concert. They would hang them up all over the city. Soldiers often used drums for their march music as a sound of heroism. There were brass bands and wind bands. Wind bands used flutes and brass bands used saxophones. Blues was played by slaves during the Civil War. It helped them to get through their hard work every day. It helped them to have hope for getting freedom and for being able to be like a normal person. Music was so popular that people often had pianos in their home to enjoy the music every day. Abraham Lincoln's favorite song was Dixie. The night he died, he asked the men to play it for him because it was his favorite song after Lee surrendered. Here's a clip of Dixie.
I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times are not forgotten. Look away, Dixieland.
One of the songs played was Bonnie and the Blue Flag. The song was so popular in the Confederacy that the Union decided to fine anyone singing, humming, or whistling the tune, even if it was only a young child. Here's a clip from Bonnie and the Blue Flag.
We are a band of brothers and native to the soil, fighting for our liberty with treasure, blood, and toil. And when our rights are threatened, the cry rolls near and far. Hurrah for the bonny blue flag that bears a single star.
Go.
What? Go.
My son, he's at war.
I'm done.
Strangers in the night.